Former UKIP leader Nigel Farage has demanded a no-confidence vote in current leader Gerard Batten over his appointment of Tommy Robinson as an advisor on rape gangs and prison reforms. Well, former EDL leader Robinson was jailed for 13 months in May for contempt of court, but that conviction was quashed and the case referred to the Attorney General. He's previously served time for mortgage fraud and a passport offence. Farage claims Batten is driving UKIP to electoral ruin, but the current UKIP boss says his predecessor has shown little interest in the party since stepping down. Well, for more on this, I'm now joined by the man himself, UKIP leader Gerard Batten. Gerard, thank you very much indeed for coming in. I mean, Gerard, it'll be a case of explain yourself then. What are you doing? Tommy Robinson, do you really want to be associated with this man?
I've known Tommy Robinson now for some time. I had a chance to get to know him, and also one of our peers in the House of Lords, Malcolm Pearson, has got to know him. And we think that he can play a part helping us to develop our policies in the two areas that we've discussed. We are going to organise on the 9th of December the biggest pro-Brexit rally in London that there's been since the referendum. We're hoping to get tens of thousands of people out to that. We're lining up a range of speakers now, and Tommy Robinson has got a massive following in social media. Obviously he's on our side in terms of the Brexit argument, and he's going to use his influence to get out as many people as possible, as well as the people that we can get out. So we're looking forward to a very successful rally on the 9th of December, and what we want out of that is people to come and join UKIP so that we can then continue to wage the struggle for a proper exit from the European Union.
A couple of points on that. Wouldn't you say that some of the people that would vote for UKIP would already vote for Tommy Robinson? Are you really widening your appeal?
I think so. I mean, one of the things that surprised me as I've gone around the country over the last 9 months, and I've been all over the country, Sunderland, Newcastle, Dorset, Kent, and I don't raise the subject, but the people who talk to me about Tommy Robinson and what he's doing and their support for him, and it cuts right across social divides and social classes, it's quite surprised me. And today, since we've had these very unhelpful comments from the former leader of UKIP, we've had hundreds of emails and messages of support come in. Just this afternoon, we've had donations for about £7,000 come in. So I'm very confident that what I've done is a right move, and it will get support from a wide range of people. And I think Nigel has very badly miscalculated.
Well, Nigel himself, he thinks this is bad timing, given how close we actually are to Brexit. Let's just have a listen to what Nigel had to say.
At the very moment when Brexit is in a right mess, when both Tory and the Labour parties are breaking their promises to the electorate, not just in the referendum, but in the general election as well, massive opportunity for UKIP, big opportunity for millions to say to the government, hey, think about this again, Brexit's not going the right way. And all Gerard Batten wants to do is get this, frankly, thug involved with the party. So I've held my silence as a former party leader until now, but we now have to get rid of this bloke as leader, because he's not just damaging UKIP, he's damaging Brexit.
Well, lots of points that he actually raised there, and we'll come to the thug reference in a minute, but let's listen to what Nigel had to say, surely, as he was your most successful leader. Isn't he worth listening to?
Well, he hasn't done anything for the party for the last 2 years. He's not been interested. He hasn't had a word to say since I became leader. He's not said to anybody, vote UKIP, join UKIP. He's had no interest in UKIP whatsoever. Very disappointing. In fact, he's very good on the TV, but the person who did the most work on Brexit policy was me in UKIP over the years. I wrote a book about it in 2014, what would happen if there was a referendum, if the Leave side won, and my predictions have come to pass, unfortunately. And I wrote an exit plan, which Nigel wasn't interested in, by the way. I had to wait till Paul Nuttall became leader before he appointed me as the Brexit spokesman. So I've actually done more work than any other MEP or politician in UKIP on developing our Brexit policy and how it would actually work. Well, Nigel hasn't slightly been interested in that. All he's interested in is going on the TV and the showman side of things. And I think if you look at the comments on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook or whatever, it's predominantly in my favour, I think by an overwhelming amount. And we've had our head office down in Dorset has been Devon, has been overwhelmed with messages of support and criticisms of Nigel himself.
Well, let's move away then from the leadership angle. Let's look at also the other point that he raised. He said Tommy Robinson was a thug. He served time in jail. I mean, he has, this is absolutely true. These are all facts. I mean, just because he served time, that wouldn't really necessarily make him an expert on prisons, then, would it?
If you look at Tommy Robinson explained all this himself in his book Enemy of the State, where some of his convictions are extremely bogus. And I'd recommend anybody to read that, because I can't explain all that on a short segment on a TV show. But it's well worth looking at. He isn't a thug. He has, interestingly, one of the convictions he got for being in a fight was actually because he was trying to prevent BNP people and far-right people coming into a meeting where they weren't wanted, and then a fight broke out. Well, I'm not condoning fights and violence, but he's not a criminal who lives off people and victimises people like a professional criminal would do. He's had a few criminal convictions, of which, as I say, some are a bit bogus. We've got convicted criminals sitting in the House of Lords who make laws over, contribute to making laws over us, and have tried to thwart the Brexit process. I'd be a bit more concerned about the convicted criminals sitting in the House of Lords and how we can have a system where such people are allowed to be in there than worrying about a few minor misdemeanours by someone like Tommy Robinson. And he isn't a thug. Nigel's never met him because he wouldn't condescend to actually meet him and have a conversation with him. But he isn't a thug.
But the key point that a lot of people will come back to, it's all about racism, it's about Islamophobia. They say that Tommy Robinson is obsessed with the Muslim rape gangs. I mean, how can you counter that, and how is that good for the UKIP party?
First of all, Tommy Robinson isn't a racist. He has many black friends that he's had his whole life, and indeed Asian and Muslim friends, and he'll tell you that. I mean, people should get him on their shows and talk to him rather than get it second-hand from me or anybody else. Neither UKIP nor Tommy Robinson has ever been a racist. That's nonsense. Islamophobia is a made-up word. Neither he nor me nor anybody else has an irrational fear of Islam, and we have nothing against Muslims as individual people. What we have a problem with is the ideology of Islam, and the whole of the civilised world has a problem with the ideology of Islam because it's blowing people up, it's killing people, it's cutting their throats. They see this every day. Why do we have barriers now outside of our public buildings, like in Parliament, where I've just walked down to come here? Because of the fear of people driving vehicles with bombs in them up to the vehicles. Now, that's down to ideology. The people who do this take their justification from that, from the ideology that they follow. And I think it would be irresponsible for a politician these days not to know something about that and have a view on it and say something about it.